if I get the glare in my glasses just right, you can see how scratched up and foggy and not quite moldy. Although there is some mold growing on them, but like deteriorating. I need new glasses so bad. I cannot find a pair that really suit me or that fit me. That's the problem, is that I want them to fit me. So it's 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, and it's a very weird time. The whole world's basically asleep. Um, Europe's not awake yet. America's completely asleep. Like, West Coast went to sleep an hour ago. East Coast is in the middle of the night. And yeah, I just thought I would come on at this time, this rather weird time, to see if I could catch anybody at an unusual time. If you're tuning in, let me know in the world where you're watching from. I'm curious. It's just this random stream. I'm cruising home from Shibuya. I just dropped my wife and my son off at dance and shopping. And I'm feeling pretty good because it's my, I had to get a birthday present. And I got it. And I got the perfect parking spot. And I thought I was going to have to I thought it was going to take me like a whole extra 2 hours. And I managed to knock it all out in just a really quick go. I'm done. I'm really done. Today has been already a super successful day. I got an amazing care package today from Grasshopper. Dude, I gotta make a video about it, but like huge thank you to Grasshopper. We got connected a couple of days ago. Well, we got connected a couple months ago, actually. Maybe even like almost half a year ago now. And just kind of got on each other's radars, and there was some musical overlap, although I think our interests in music are a little bit different. Nice Ferrari. Do you guys know Grasshopper? Grasshopper's a cool cat in Toronto. Musician, producer, fixer, just kind of a somebody, a character. But has a name, has records, has his own EPs, mini albums, split 7 inches. I don't know what else. I think he's got credits on lots of CDs and albums. And I think he's working in pop now. Don't quote me on it, but he had mentioned that he'd played the Drake, and I didn't quite catch what he was saying. And I thought he was saying like he produced something for Drake, as in the Drake. And then I think through the process of like receiving this care package and reading all the liner notes and checking it all out, I think there might be a famous nightclub in Toronto called the Drake that was like legendary, where a lot of the like great punk bands and rock bands from the 80s and 90s maybe played. Do you guys know? Oh shit, Grasshopper's here. Dude, what is up? Dude, got your care package today, man. Grasshopper in the house. Shit, I kind of wasn't expecting that. But I kind of didn't know what to expect because I'm streaming at the weirdest hour of the day, and so I thought, Grasshopper mentioned that he's up at the weird hours of the night, so maybe he'll be on. Yeah, dude. Okay. I got it. So Grasshopper sent over a very nice care package via a friend of his who's the cabin attendant who I assume gallivants all around the world on airplanes, and who was staying at a really, by the way, convenient to me hotel. It was very, very easy for me to get to. And we didn't have a chance to hang out with the mutual friend, or the friend of Grasses, who sent along this care package with. She was just a little bit too busy, which is totally fine. But the care package was left at the hotel lobby with the concierge, and I went and picked it up and dropped off a little care package for you guys as well, for both of you guys, both one for Anna and one for you two, Grass, and for Liesel, is that her name? You're lovely. I don't know how far I can go. I'm gonna make a whole video. I just listened to Grass. If you're hanging out, glad you got the gifts. Okay, yeah. I mean, so it took me back. You guys, I feel really lucky because I've got this really cool mini album. It's like I don't know if it's quite an EP, but it's like a 6-song album. Punk, sludgy, grunge, like pre-grunge punk record, basically. But it's a little industrial, it's a little metally. It's pretty straightforward punk. I don't know, Grass, you tell us if I know nobody likes to genreize their music, but yeah, it's a punk record. And it took me back to a time, and I was just trying to articulate the feelings that I had in a text message to Grass about it. And I got to chatting, and I got to saying, oh, it took me back to this and this and this and this, and oh, here's a funny little memory I had about that. And then boom, my phone died, and I lost a paragraph of a concept I was really excited to share. Actually, not necessarily, well, I say excited, but I actually wasn't that excited to share about it because it's burying it all a little bit. It's what I was saying is that it took me back to a summer, actually, kind of. It took me back to a period of my life that started. It was a 7-year period of my life, but it started when I was about, I don't even remember how old I was, maybe 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there, maybe even 14, but I think I was more like barely 13. And I went and lived in Phoenix, Arizona for a summer with a friend's cousin's family. A neighborhood kid of mine had an older cousin who he would always go visit in the summer and basically spend the summers with. And one year he invited me to come along with him. And so I said to my folks, hey, can I go to Arizona for 2 months or 3 months or whatever it was, almost a whole summer. And so everybody was okay with it. And so next thing you know, I'm living in Phoenix for a summer, which was really, really fun. And there was an older cousin there, Ted, who was 5 years older than both of us, and who didn't really want to be hanging out with us, but bless his heart, he was real sweet to us, and he took us to the Grand Canyon, and he took us to a bunch of places that we had a good time going to. And he also turned us on to Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, Ramones, Butthole Surfers, who else? Black Flag, Bad Brains, Pixies, I think Mother's Milk, Chili Peppers. Who else would have been in there? Those are the ones that I remember. And I just remember that Butthole Surfers with the pencil in the ear, and then Dead Kennedy, just the thought of a dead Kennedy. And I remember reading Jello Biafra and Flea and the Pixies and yeah, and I was coming off of like We Are the World and Huey Lewis and like Cyndi Lauper and Back to the Future and E.T. and the Goonies, like as like 80s, classic 80s MTV sort of idyllic suburban youth as you possibly could get. I was so angstless. I was so like urbanless. I mean, the market that the Beastie Boys accidentally appealed to was me, you know? I wasn't the intended market, but that's who they accidentally captured with License to Ill. And so, and it just, that summer of music it shorted a circuit. Like, I could not really appreciate it all. And it was my first taste of punk, really. And it all came at once. And I didn't like, I remember being really, we were into maybe MOD, Method of Destruction. We had already discovered hip hop, and we'd already discovered like Ice-T had a few like metally things on a couple of records, and Public Enemy was pretty, like we already had a little bit from like skating and like from the neighborhood, but we didn't really have punk. We had hip hop. It was a weird little moment in time, and I think Grass, you've got like 3 years on me or 4 years, and that would have been like, you would have been like the 80s to me. There was great music. I'm just kind of like generalizing here, but like when we look back at the 80s and we think of like Dayglow and Pee-wee's Big Adventure or jams or jelly bracelets or swatches or things like that, like that's the way I look back at the 80s a little bit, with like an esprit sort of characterization, a sort of Dayglow aesthetic. A slightly older, just 3 years difference, I think, is a big generation gap. I think those 3 or 4 years difference, you get industrial music, you get the genesis of techno, and what am I saying? House music, you get the beginnings of hip hop and the funk crossover stuff, and it's just like I just don't think my little MTV generation, like, we're just a little bit too young for it. Although it did come to generations that were younger than mine somehow. And what I wanted to say is that like these records, the record that Grasshopper made probably would have found my younger brothers and sisters before it found me. I probably would have found my way to Grasshopper's record by way of a little brother or little sister. Not that much littler, but a couple of years. My brothers were into, or I should say my next brother and my next sister were really into some local Tulsa punk bands, one being called Hickey and another one being Brother Inferior, and I think they were sort of incestuous. And then like Husker Du and Minneapolis and Ohio and all these sort of Midwest bands that like my brother got in with an older crowd, much older than me actually, and anyway, it all got mixed up, and it was the first time I remember like music thinking to myself, wow, like music isn't necessarily linear. Musical discovery or musical appreciation isn't just like the generation before yours is better than yours, or the generation that's after yours is worse than yours. So that was kind of an enlightening little thing, and it was a little bit of a confusing time in my life musically. I was a little bit lost, and my parents gave me no direction at all. Their record collection like consisted of like the Carpenters and James Taylor and Simon and Garfunkel. Maybe there was a Deep Purple in there, but it was not. And so there was a Beatles record or two in there. The White Album was in there. I think Red and Blue were in there, but there was not a lot. Or oldies, like golden oldies radio station, like Motown and doo-wop and stuff. My parents weren't super hip, although my dad did see Hendrix. And my dad's got some. I have a feeling like there's a whole world of music stuff that my dad just never exactly shared with us. I think he was a little bit of a, yeah, Steppenwolf he loved, and Three Dog Night, and he was kind of, yeah, he wasn't quite old enough to, like, what he would have, I think he was a senior in 1969 or 68. So he was just ever so slightly too young to be like going off to Woodstock or someplace like that. And being from Oklahoma, I think a lot of those guys just like they never escaped. They never like got off somewhere. It was just it might as well have been a different universe to go to San Francisco or to go to New York or to go to anywhere. So in addition, Grass, are you still hanging around? You were in the boom of the early 90s. Yeah, hip-hop was the punk of the late 80s. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Okay, well, I'm seeing some comments I'm missing here. Sorry, they're not popping up. Okay, but in addition, the impetus for this care package was the thing that I got, Grass and I got hooked up about, I think, was Ween. We're both Ween fans. And Grass is not only a Ween fan, he's a Ween friend. And they're featured on his records, and which is really cool. And when I mentioned in passing that I no longer had the pod, or I gave all my CDs away at some point, and I don't even remember who I gave them to. And when I burned them all to the hard drive, and I thought I'd never need them again. And I think I kept the inserts that I don't remember what happened to them, but I think I gave them to my friend Ann, who I host the Ridiculous podcast with. But I asked her, do you have all my CDs? And she said, no, I don't know where they are. And so Grass said, I've got the old Ween CDs, and I've got all the vinyl too, and I'm never going to listen to the Ween CDs anymore, so if you want them, I'll send them your way. And I was like, oh, I even kind of want the CDs more than the records. And because I had the CDs, and they're like, I want to remember what the CDs look like, and I want them at that scale, because that'll take me back to, an exact moment in my past. And so he dug them up. I'm talking to you. Oh, there's 8 of you guys hanging out. And so he digs up his Ween CDs and he sends them to me. And these are just 2 of, I think, 6 or 7 CDs that he sent me. I've got them. I already got them in the car here, and I've already got one. I've already got the pod in the deck. And I've been really, really enjoying listening to CDs on the car CD player. Oh, dude, you deserve the Ween CDs. Man, I am so stoked. I gotta have like a Ween week, man. It's gonna be I think I'm gonna have like a Ween month. I've got like 5 Ween videos in my head about, I gotta make a video about the mollusk. I gotta make a video about grasshopper. I gotta make a live stream. I gotta talk about, but then I wait. And then the reason that Ween's sort of like out there at the moment is because, well, they're always out there because they're there. But for Record Store Day 2025, whatever they call it, Black Friday Record Store Day, they released Shinola Volume 1, and I want to talk about it at length on a video, but I'll mention right now that it's outtakes, it's outtakes and misfits and songs that never made it onto albums. And I went and listened to the whole thing and read all the liner notes and recognized a few songs from other albums and different versions, and I was like, oh, this one sounds like, I know why it did. And then I looked all the songs up, and it was like, this was from the Mollusk sessions, this was from Chocolate and Cheese sessions, this one is from the something sack sessions, the cul-de-sac sessions, or what was it called, the something sack sessions. And I was like, what's that? The something sack sessions, I've never heard of that. So I go look up that, and I realize, okay, it's like this digital only release that Ween put out in 2000 that is considered, part of the discography. It just never got a hard copy release. And had I had anybody to sort of share my Ween love with, I might have learned this by having a Ween buddy, You know, we could have taught each other. But I didn't have anybody that I loved Ween with. I just found them on my own and never quite met another Ween head. I know they're out there, and I know they live their lives by them. But through this Shinola record, I went and found about 4 like collections of songs that are well known and well established. And I read about, oh, this song, you know, wasn't in rotation before the breakup, but since they've been back together, it's in heavy rotation. This one wasn't in the repertoire, you know, hasn't been in the repertoire since the breakup, but you know, pre blah blah blah, it was in heavy rotation. And it just got me thinking, this is the way Fish fans talk about, you know, Fish songs. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta know all this stuff. So I got the Pod on CD, which I used to have. I got Pure Guava on CD, which I also used to have. I got Painting the Town Brown 2-disc live CD, which I've never had before. I'm very stoked about that. I got 12 Country Classics, which I already have. So I'm actually going to find a new home for that one. I'm going to try to turn somebody on to that record. And I got Quebec on CD, which I'm really, really stoked about. And I forgot I had it on CD. I have it on vinyl, but I also had it on CD, and I gave the CD away. And as soon as I saw the picture on the CD, I remembered, oh, I had this. I totally had this. And I love that record so much. I really, really love that record. It's a great one. And yeah, anyway, Grass, dude, thank you so much. I was super stoked. I was super, super, super. And he sent me a really nice t-shirt, right? T-shirt too. The only complaint I have, Grass, is that you sent it all in a disc union bag. And because it was a disc union bag, and because my wife knows what a disc union bag looks like, even though it was a gift and I didn't pay for it, I still had to sneak it into my house so that I didn't come home and she wouldn't have said, my wife, bless her heart, she never complains about my record collection. She never complains about it. In fact, she sort of says to me like, oh, you should open a record shop, or you should go DJ more events. But I always feel a little guilty, like bringing home disc union bags or HMV bags, you know, especially when I brought one home yesterday and the day before and the day before that. But no, I'm joking, but I know. I'm joking. It was totally fine, but it was funny. I was like, oh no, disc union bag. He didn't realize this was actually dangerous for me, right? I thought that. Man, I'm burning up. So yeah, it was a really nice day. So I woke up and I went down to Shimokita and I made a video. I walked around Shimokita's and I made a video that I'm gonna maybe publish today. And then I went and did something a little special for Grass and his friend Anna. Nothing too special, just I spent a little time on that, which feels really nice. And then I went and picked up this amazing care package. Then I went home and listened to all this music, or at least the records, and I was listening. You know, I've got it in the car on the way down to drop the family off. Now I'm gonna cook Thanksgiving dinner tonight. And I should be, like, tonight, it's already 4:00, but I'm just gonna bake a whole chicken and make some mashed potatoes and gravy and that kind of thing. So it's not an all day kind of affair, but because we have birthdays in the family and because we didn't do Thanksgiving, I'm gonna go cook a big Thanksgiving birthday dinner that's gonna end up in like a big giant pot of chicken soup. And I got birthday presents in stock. No having to like run around town looking for this stuff. Got two really nice presents. And the other thing about Grass is that Grass, you inspired me. I went out and like I splurged this month, like big time. I went and got Moist Boys 1 and 2, not the compilation, but the two individual. The first 10-inch and the second 12-inch. Then I got, I'm burning up. Then I found a copy of Cats live at Cat's Cradle for like $40. Less than actually, like $35. A live show, a live Ween show, 2 discs that was like collecting dust on Amazon. Nobody just bought it. It's like one lonely copy. Like somebody found an extra copy at the back of the stack after everybody had already. Sometimes you can have this kind of luck on Amazon. They'll like, something will get sold out. And you're like, damn, and then some third party will come in and be selling it for like $300, and then you wait a year, and it'll be like, oh, we have 1 copy, and it's, like 5% of it's going on the secondary market, and it's brand new and sealed, and you're like, what? And so that happened to me. In fact, I scored that Cat's Cradle. I scored Painting the Town Brown, which is three discs, and I bought the pod too. And I'd been like, probably, they had been there for a long time, and I just like didn't pull the trigger on it, but my heart is racing for Ween these days, and it was so I just like, I got them all. So now I got them for the car. I got the CDs for the car. I got the discs for home and just for the collection. So feeling real good. Okay, I'm at the grocery store. Let me read these comments. I'm burning up. I'm wearing double down jackets. Hold on a second. I'm burning up. Oh my God. Okay, what's going on with you guys? Today is, have you guys watched the Rachel's Ghost TV show documentary? I recommend you watch it. It's pretty fun. Okay, Grass is I think I saw Herc was in here too. You deserve the Ween CDs. Dude, thank you so much, Grass. Thank you so much. We're going to make a live stream, and you're going to drop some science on me. These albums that Grass sent me, he's like a baby in them. I don't know. He's my age, but this is a good 25 years ago or more. More, actually. It's more like 30. If not, 30 years ago. He looks like a little pup. Let's see, what else here? Glad you got the gifts. Okay, it's my first record. We wanted to be Melvin's Steel Pole Bathtub Nirvana and the Beasties. Got it. Yeah, we wanted to be Melvin's Steel Pole Bathtub Nirvana and the Beasties. Yeah, I read the write-up that your buddy wrote about the album, and it said, like, we thought we discovered our own little Nirvana and our own little place in Toronto, and everybody loved it, and it was such a scene, and Grasshopper was the man, and like we were all there, and it was a moment in time, and we all knew it was gonna blow up, and it just never quite got above ground, and it was really a poetic, fun thing to read. Actually, with your permission, I'd like to read it. I'd like to make a video about it, and I'd like to read it, narrate it online. It's a really well-written, fun little read. Glad they busted you into the underground a little bit. These guys, a little bit. Hip hop was the punk of the late 80s. Yeah, you were in the boom of the early 90s. I was a freshman in 91, and your record came out in 92, I think. And this repress you sent me, which by the way sounds fantastic. It sounded really good. I mean, it's not a very luscious instrumentation per se. I mean, it's guitar and drums and bass, but you must have a ton of effects going on, and it's real. I mean, I don't know if I can really tell if I don't know. I mean, those like sound floor is 0 on it, and it doesn't have any of that sort of, you know, it sounds like it's well mastered. So, and maybe well mixed as well. And I imagine you have something to do with both of those parts. So I thought that I gave it a couple listens for that second reason. I just was like, is this a great sounding record? I think it is, and it actually is. So I think you probably put a lot of care into the sound quality of it. Herc in the house, what a pal! That was super cool of you, Grasshopper. Yeah, amazingly cool, amazingly cool, very very cool. Herc, I think I've I think I have. I don't think I've sent you any. Send me a DM if you would, and let me send you a sticker. If you don't want to disclose your address or your name or anything, that's okay. I don't have to. But if you want one, I want to send you one, Herc. You definitely deserve one. I've got these stickers, you know, and I've been sending out little letters and posts. I'm on kind of a letter writing campaign that I'm really enjoying. And I want to send you one, Herc, and I want to be mindful of everybody's, you know, privacy. So if that's a concern, then don't worry about it. But I would like to send you one. Thought you would find the bag funny, the disc union bag. Yeah, you gonna get me in trouble. Fucking killer. OG Simpson. Let's see, nice scores. Yeah, those weens, man. I split. Well, it wasn't that bad. It was bad. It was a little rough, and like right before Christmas, a little reckless. But I did get I did it because I got two fat jobs this week. What? Let's see here. Okay, please do. What was the please do in reference to? And worked with Eno and Master Joshua Tree. Wait, whoa. What are we talking about? Sorry, I've lost. What are we talking about? And worked with Eno? You worked with Eno, Grass? And Master Joshua Tree. What are we talking about? The guy who did your record? Oh, please do is in reference to like if I have permission to read that little blip. Okay, got that. And did that person work with Eno? Okay, and Master Joshua Tree? Is that what's going on? The guy who mastered my record. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, okay, there was something to that. I noticed there was definitely something to that. I noticed, I was like, this sounds way better than like a punk. My punk collection's small, but I do have a punk collection. I have about maybe not quite 20 records. I probably have maybe not even a dozen. I probably have like, yeah, LPs. I probably have a dozen punk LPs. But, okay, interesting. Yeah, it sounded great. A bunch of those records I have, they sound like shit. But then the 7-inch sounded really good too, and that sounded like Ween. I could hear the Diener in those songs. I don't know what involvement they were, but like you guys were obviously riffing on like a vibe. There was certainly a vibe, some Dean Ween vibe in them. The guy who mastered my record. Wow. He worked with Pink Floyd, Brian Eno, and mastered the Joshua Tree. Good grief. The Joshua Tree was shot by Anton Corbijn. I think I always kind of never quite remember how to pronounce his name. Anton Corbijn. Really awesome photography. I really like the photography work on there. I was a U2. I mean, I had a U2 thing. That's actually one of the CDs I'm taking out of the car to make room for the Ween. I put Octung Baby in here to just try to hit my kids to, you know, I thought like one might be like, see what an anthem this is, guys? Don't you think this is great? And but they didn't really take to it. But my U2 record that I dig is Rattle and Hum. I particularly love Rattle and Hum. Who is this produced by? Recorded, okay. This was in... Okay, it doesn't say right off the bat who's... Huh, okay, it doesn't say who's mixing and mastering this. Interesting. This was an interest. This in my opinion, this was their last decent album. But sorry, you two. I lost interest after this. Oh, here we go. Arnie Acosta. Mastering honor Arnie Acosta. Who's it produced by? Photography by Anton Corbijn. Same guy who did Joshua Tree. Doesn't say who it's produced by. Paul McGuinness, manager. Is that Bono? Is Bono Paul McGuinness? No, it can't be. Bono is Paul, though, I think. But this is a pretty hardy little book for a CD book. I mean, you can't scoff at CDs. I mean, I don't even know if I need to see this in a large, record format. But anyway, that one's coming out of the car. It's like in the least amount of rotation. What else should come out of here? Here's what's in here. I mentioned this the other day. Granddaddy's. This is Holy Grail on vinyl. If you guys can ever find this on vinyl, I'm looking for that. This is my fully loaded edition of the Velvets. It's a cool one. I recently got this on wax. My homie Bryce hooked me up on this with Bryce. Hello Nasty, one of the few Beastie records that I don't have on wax. I love Hello Nasty. Originals are expensive, but represses. I think represses are even like $100. They're expensive. This was the Zappa record that turned me on to all the Zappa. That I had this first. This was the one that was like, I was like, okay, finally I got it. It clicked, and I was like, okay, Peaches and Regala. What record does this off of? Hot Rats. So you got to go buy that one. Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. Don't you eat the yellow snow? What's that on? Oh, that's on Shake Your Booty. Dancing Fool. What's that off of? You got to go get Bongo Fury. I went basically through all of My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama. That's, on Apostrophe or, Overnight Sensation. I forget which ones they're on, but then you find them on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore and that giant series. And then you find them on the Lost episodes. And then you find them on all these, then you want to have every single one, and that was a gateway drug to Frank Zappa. That was a really important record to me, and actually it's a great compilation. If you haven't dipped your toes in Zappa, and I'm sure all of you have, but if you haven't, this is a great. I'm not a big compilation, greatest hits kind of. It's kind of funny though, right? Strictly Commercial, which is a lyric from a Zappa tune, but it's just hilarious that's what they called it. I think this was his first posthumous record released by Ryko after he died, 95. So I got this in probably 96, and a girlfriend got this for me. She's like, you seem like you should like Frank Zappa. And I was like, I've tried. The summer probably before I went to Arizona, my older cousin played me Valley Girl on headphones, and I just thought it was the worst thing ever. Bone Machine, Tom Waits, great record. Recently got that on wax. Arlie Farcature and Ry Cooder, Timbuktu, great record. I've never seen this on wax. I'd love to have wax. Killer CD. Penguin Cafe Orchestra. I don't know their story. Are they from UK? I forget where they are, but they're kind of heady, pretty, what do you call them? Instrumental. I don't know how to describe Penguin Cafe Orchestra. I love Penguin Cafe. Really pretty songs, but there's something a little bit counter about them. Something sort of counterculture. Shadows in the Night, Dylan. I don't think I've ever listened to this CD, not even one single time, and I probably put it in the car so that I would actually listen to it. I found it on the side of the street in my neighborhood. Somebody left it out for it to be claimed, and I picked it up and took it home, and I've never once listened to it. I have no idea if it's good or not. Beck, Morning Phase, great morning CD. What song on here do I really like? I mean, everything's good on here. It all kind of bleeds into each other. Primal Scream's debut, I think. Sonic Flower Groove. You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, more Zappa. I love this one. Oh, this one's got Downtown Talent Scout. Taj Mahal. Love me some Taj. Taj has got some roots in Tulsa, which I dig. Some Round Midnight, Miles Davis. You're getting a taste of my music interests here. I mean, this is a tiny slice. Beck, Modern Guild. You can already tell it's pretty basic, I'm gonna say, pretty mainstream. Glitter and Doom, Tom Waits live record from 2009. This is so underrated. If you're a Tom Waits person and you don't know this record, it's criminal. This is the best Tom Waits live record, and I can't believe I'm even saying that because there's a lot of great live Tom Waits records. Not a lot, but there's Big Time, there's Nighthawks at the Diner, both amazing records. What else is there? There's probably another one, a major one I'm forgetting. This one is so fun. It's so killer. And this too has Tom's Tales on it, where he tells like hilarious stories. It's just the pattern between the songs. Really great Tom Waits. I have this on wax too. Glitter and Doom. Phoenix, not a giant Phoenix head, but trying to like expand my horizons a little bit. Trey Anastasio of Fish and Don Hart. This is a orchestral symphonic sort of composed piece called Time Turns Elastic. It's basically just like one suite of songs, instrumental, very there's a tiny bit of lyrics on it. Bowie, what is this record called? Earthling. Oh, this is Earthling. Earthling. Excuse me. I don't know this Bowie record. I mean, I've listened to it once, but I don't really know it. And I bought it recently because I was like, oh, I don't know this one. And like, I recently like came to terms with how many blind spots I have with Bowie, and this is one of them. And I think this came out like maybe 95, like the same year that 97. So like, what was I paying attention to in 97? Anything but Bowie. I mean, not because I was down on Bowie, but I just like how could Bowie have gotten through 1997 with, you know, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and whatever else I was listening to at the time, The Dead and Fish and you know, just like discovering Hendrix and these Doors records and like all kinds of things that it was just like new discovery for it. That's Bowie's drum and bass album. All right, wicked. I've listened to it once, but not. The reason I'm certain that I've listened to it once is because a guy who is the craziest person I know who's a Bowie guy. He did my Japan vinyl tag prompt. He answered the 20 prompts all with Bowie records, and I went and listened to them all, and this was among them. So interesting to hear it's his drum. Whoa. It's interesting to hear that it's his drum and bass records. Okay, I see comments coming in. Okay, have watched the film It's Pat with Ween. Have you watched the film It's Pat with Ween? No, I haven't. Dude, you need to school me on this stuff. Have you watched the film It's Pat? Like, It's Pat from like, It's Pat. I don't know, man. School me. Hey, James, I'm just seeing you here now. Nice to see you, dude. Dude, I Blame Summers is hanging out. Just subscribed. Okay, and Trevor's Flat Round Spun. Hey, man. She joins Ween? Pat does? That's so funny. Norm McDonald tells God, I miss Norm so much. Norm tells the funniest story of Chris Farley. Is it Farley? I think it's Farley. I think Farley is at Saturday Night Live before, oh my God, I have to see that. I know that I remember the movie, but it's like a Saturday Night Live movie. It was probably panned. I didn't realize Ween was in it. See, this is the thing when you don't have anybody to like did you hear that they're in the new Pat movie? Like, I didn't have anybody telling me that. So, but I think it's Chris Farley takes Norm to like summer camp, or like they get hired maybe the same year, and they take the new cast out to the, you know, upstate New York, and they spend the weekend together getting to know each other. And they've all had different interviewing processes, and they're just getting the feels for each other. And Chris Farley takes Norm, I think it is, I hope I got this right, and he takes him like deep into this cabin, and into down the hallway, and into another room, and into the closet, and into the little secret room. And he gets him, and he's like, listen, I'm going to tell you a secret, but you get to swear to secrecy. And Norm says, okay, tell me, what is it? And he says, Pat, she's a woman. And then I have the Lips, Embryonic. This is one that I haven't actually listened to that much. I really love the cover of this one, super psychedelic. Basic, I admit, this one probably could leave. I don't need to hear this again. Daft Punk. I love me some Daft Punk. More Lips. This one's a fun one. I get by with a little help from my friends. This was a tribute album to an organization that helped animals, like it helped feed animals or something like that, like pets. And this was the the record came with a CD, which was really, really nice. And it's Sgt. Pepper's. It's the entire Sgt. Pepper suite covered by the Lips, in the Lips style. Strokes, love me some Strokes. More Beck, more Mellow Gold, more Primal Scream, Beggar's Banquet, Brainwashed by George Harrison. That's a new record. I'm really happy about that one. Then the Mollusk. And wow, if you don't have the Mollusk, you gotta get the Mollusk, man. This is a masterpiece. And this is the Weaker Thans, gifted to me by Dallas. Amazing little indie Canadiana band from Winnipeg. Really, really dig this voice. He's got kind of a voice like Stephen Malkmus, or he's got one of these like unvirtuosic voices that is really groovy. Sounds a little bit like Neil Young or something. I really kind of dig him. Anyway, that's my CD collection, my CD car collection. It's not my CD collection, but it's in my car. I'll probably forget that I talked about them all here on this stream, and I'll probably do it all over again. Do you know the Lips, Oklahoma? I mean, I know the Lips, and I've met those guys a handful of times, and I've seen them bunches of times. But and I've had an email correspondence going with Wayne once, but I think he was just humoring me, and I don't think he'll remember who I am. But I left. I mean, we used to go see them all the time. Not all the time, but we saw them. I've seen them a dozen times, if not more. And I've seen them here in Japan. And I probably have a better chance with like knowing them through Japan friends than I do through Oklahoma friends. Because they're from Oklahoma City, and I'm from Tulsa. And Oklahoma City and Tulsa are not, they're not like, they're not sister cities by any means. And they're kind of like, I don't think they feel particularly connected to Tulsa any more than Detroit, or I don't know, Milwaukee. I'm not really sure. But I think we used to always see them in Bricktown and in Oklahoma City. I didn't see them that much in Tulsa. I thought it was kind of the same. I mean, they're both Oklahoma, but Tulsa is Oklahoma's second city, and Oklahoma City, where they're from, is this sort of, it's the capital city. Both the cities are, I think, roughly the same size. Oklahoma City might be like actually twice as big, or 1.4 times as big, or something like that. It's a little bit bigger, but the Lips are proudly from Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City and Oklahoma City people will scoff at this comment, but Oklahoma City doesn't have any like character. it's just an any town. It has, sorry Oklahoma City people, but it's very America, it's very just like any town USA. It doesn't have a particularly like spectacular skyline. It's got hip neighborhoods and stuff. The town was built with like, I think like rancher money. It's like a rancher town. It's a cowboy town. It's cow town, they call it, I think. It's like cow town and farmer town. Tulsa, on the other hand, not that this makes it any better, but it's built on oil. They had oil in Tulsa. And the other thing is that, again, like, people will, if you're from Oklahoma City, you'll be scoffing at me, but this is the rivalry that the two cities have. Tulsa is in the green country, and it's kind of in the edge of the Ozark Mountains. And the Ozarks are actually the oldest mountain range in America. Millions upon millions of years ago, the Ozark Mountains were once taller than the Rocky Mountains, but they are so old that they've eroded down to, I don't know how tall the tallest mountain in the Ozarks is, but it's, it's nothing compared to the Rocky Mountains. But it's all green and hills and forests and winding roads, and it looks a little bit like New England, a little bit. It's flat, but it's also hilly and green, very, very green. And Tulsa Oklahoma City on the other hand is red. It's red dirt, and it's dry out there, and it's like Dust Bowl, Oklahoma. Tulsa is a bit lush, bit green, less dry, more humid. I've been to Oklahoma City. I agree. Any town USA. Sorry, Oklahoma City people. You guys can talk shit about Tulsa. It's okay. I wish Tulsa could claim the lips. We would love to claim the lips. And the only reason that I can claim them is because it's Oklahoma pride. They're from Oklahoma, but which is the state, obviously. But yeah, it would be cool if we could claim them as our own. We have other local heroes. We have Leon Russell, a generation before, but surely deeply inspiring to the lips. J.J. Cale, who, is attributed, he's kind of in the category of Ry Cooder or Taj Mahal a little bit. He was kind of in a class of his own. Songwriter, maybe before a musician, and just kind of a little bit of a visionary. And I think brought a lot of musicians together under his sort of umbrella, although he was never quite the leader of anything like Leon was. But he is the guy who they wish that they could play like, and they wish that, Leon, J.J. Cale, you don't hear him in interviews so much, but you do hear like Levon Helm of the band. You hear Levon talk amongst the other band guys. I love the band guys. They're all so funny. Let's see if we can. Garth Hudson, Richard Manuel, Rick Danko, Robbie Robertson. Is that all of them? And Levon Helm. And Levon, of course, is the only non-Canadian of the lot. And he was from like Arkansas or Alabama. And he talked like this, and the rest of the boys, they all, they and that's the way like J.J. Cale talks. He's just kind of a guy who doesn't just, he's got a certain thing about him, and he's just got his own little groove, and he's always laid back, and he talks just like his music sounds, and he's got this like, he's got this groove about him that is attributed to the Tulsa sound. Now I realize that probably everywhere there's a Cleveland sound, and there's a Green Bay sound, and there's a Denver sound. I have no idea, but there is a thing called the Tulsa sound, and it's When you're feeling da cocaine. Is that sort of nasty groove. That's Tulsa sound. The Tulsa groove. And it's kind of like a hippie cowboy thing. I know. Lost my job, lost my house, lost my car, cocaine. I forgot who did that joke, but Clapton lived in Tulsa for a long time, and Jerry Williams, the famous Tulsan, produced a bunch of his records. And Bonnie Raitt's another one of those. She's like not from Tulsa, but she's just got that attitude, you know? She's just cool. I think that Tedeschi crew, what's her name? Derek Trucks and Susan Tedeschi. They also have that. They're from Georgia, but they have that, like, you know, they're just cool. They're cool Southerners. Oklahoma's not really the South, but it's funny because you tell people you're from Oklahoma, and they're like, oh, you're from the South. And then people from Georgia are like, Oklahoma's not the South. It's the Southwest. And then people in New Mexico or Phoenix will be like, fuck, Oklahoma is the Midwest. It's not it's not the Southwest. It's the Midwest. And then people from Chicago will be like, fuck, Oklahoma's not the Midwest. Ohio's the Midwest, not Oklahoma. Oklahoma is, you know, the Great Plains. And then, you know, somebody in Nebraska will be like, Oklahoma's not great. Anyway, it's just kind of like it's nobody's. It's like no man's land. It was one of the last states to incorporate. They pushed, you know, everything got pushed west and then east, and then, you know, it all eventually, Oklahoma's right there in the middle. How about punk or new wave bands that I would maybe know? I mean, I don't know. The only bands that I don't really know, to be honest. I'm nearly at the end. The only band that you might know would be Brother Inferior or Hickey. Punk bands. New wave? Oh God, if I could remember, there's a couple. There's like one or two new wave bands, and even a friend of mine's older brother played in one of them. Kevin Coolidge was his name. Kevin Coolidge was his name. What was that band called? There was kind of there was like a couple of like gothy-ish new wave bands that were kind of cool. They were sort of Cure-ish. There was one that was really pretty good, and I'm spacing their name. Coolidge was the kid's name. I think Jerry Williams produced some early New York hardcore in the 80s. Huh, interesting. If it's the same Jerry, he had a twangy accent. It could be. He was my friend Siobhan's dad. And he had he also had a runway at his house. He had a recording studio. I've been to his home a number of times. And he has a recording studio at his house, lots of gold records, a garage that you can drive circles in with a whole bunch of toys. And he has a runway, a proper airstrip on his mountain, his gated mountain. And yeah, Jerry Williams. I wonder if it's the same guy. But I'm sure it is. He's written, you know, like Pretender, Living, like what? He's written a bunch of songs. He's like written a bunch of hits. Not just a producer, but he's written a bunch of hits. So it's interesting to hear that he's done punk records too. Somebody just came to mind, and there was like some 90s-ish, what were they called? Medicine Show? They were like a 90s sort of Blind Melanie kind of long-haired, you know, they were sort of like, you know, hippie leftovers that were kind of, you know, pre-slacker-ish. They were pretty good. I can't remember, man. There's the bands that we used to go see every night were like Freak Show. We love Freak Show. We love Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey. We love Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey are like good friends of mine. Reed Mathis and Brian Haas and those are the two core members. I always forget the drummer's name. The drummer changed a couple of times, but they've been with the same drummer for a really, really long time. But when we used to go see them, they used to be like a 14 piece. Do you guys know Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey? Incredible pianist and bass player. And Reed has gone on. They're both like Juilliard level musicians. I think they like studied at some conservatories somewhere, both of them. And they were stars before they were out of high school. And yeah, they're fantastic. Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey, and they became a 3-piece, and then they got big again, and then they became a little piece. But they're basically, yeah, a jazz ensemble, but very experimental jazz. And they played with a great band all the time called Harry Apes BMX. And I don't know if they're from Tulsa, but Harry Apes BMX was awesome. Who else? I don't know, guys, but that was fun. It was a fun little exploration there. As you can see, the sun's going down. Old Crow Medicine Show. Holy shit. You're taking me back. That's it. We loved a band called Whirligig too. I loved my old homies Whirligig cover band. But fuck, we used to go see Whirligig every single night. It was so much fun. Lots of good memories in Tulsa. Hey, OJCs. Thanks for promoting the doc film on Instagram. I appreciate it. My pleasure, man. Congratulations on the film. I hope you get a lot of success with it. Leon Russell looks like Rob Zombie's dad. That's funny, Grasshopper. Yeah, Greg, everybody go see Greg OJC's movie. It's called the TV show. It's really nice. It's I don't know if really nice is the right way to describe it. It's really great. It's a really great effort. That's not to say it's not nice. It's just it's something to be proud of for sure. The amount of effort that went in to tell a story was impressive, and I know that he worked really hard on it for a lot of months, and I really wish him all the success. And I think he's gonna be on Rachel's Ghost Show tonight in about, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours time. And he's going to be talking about it. They're going to go into depth of it, and I think it's the first real big super decompress about it. I think it's going to be like a real big decompress on it. I was asked to pop up. I'm probably not going to be able to because it's like midnight, and but I wish you the best of success and a fun stream. I might be like in bed listening to it in my headphones, but I probably won't be able to pop up on screen. But we'll see. Okay, guys. Old Crow Medicine Show. I'm so glad you pulled that up. That's so funny. Yeah. Who else? Tulsa. Yeah, Tulsa musicians. And then the Gap Band, I think, is from Tulsa. There's like I'm just rattling off these kind of like rock and blues bands, but there's like a funk and soul thing happening in Tulsa too that I should know better about. But I bet you know who knows about it is Wyoming Dave. I bet you Wyoming Dave knows 3 or 4 bands from Tulsa, or Psycho Platters. Psycho Platters is not far from me, actually. He's not from that area, but he lives around there, and I have a feeling he probably knows that. There's like a Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame in Tulsa, and there are some players in there, and I like Earl Skaggs, maybe. What's his? I don't know. Texas. I don't know. Bill Frisell is from Tulsa, maybe. I mean, Woody Guthrie's from Tulsa. Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys, ironically, are from Tulsa. I mean, Dolly and all those guys, they're not from Tulsa, but they were like, regulars. Willie and Merle and Kenny and those guys, they were always coming to and fro. Big country scene. Oh, Garth Brooks is from Tulsa. Brad Pitt, I think, is from Tulsa. Yeah. So anyway, if they're not from Tulsa, they're from like around the area. All right, guys, I got to go get this chicken started, or it's never going to be done. I'm really going to I like went overboard here. Wow, what a nice night, guys. Check out this amazing light. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. Wow, it's real nice. A beautiful gradation. Oh, it's so pretty. Sexy blue. Thanks for hanging out, Grasshopper. I appreciate that care package. We're gonna get online and do it soon enough. Trevor's Flat Round and Spun. Thank you so much for hanging out. OJC's. Maybe I'll see you online later tonight. James Farley stopped by. I got a new subscriber. I Blame Summers. Thanks for hanging out. That was crazy to hear that the Eno and Joshua Tree and Pink Floyd guy mastered your record. Amazing. Cool. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. Have a nice rest of your weekend. Bye.